What's up, everybody? Tim Uchuk here, and it is super early here in Edmonton. It's still quite dark out. It's 6 o'clock. We are actually a week from today. We're moving to the West Coast, to an island, which is pretty crazy. Just rewinding the clock back to a couple months back, where we were just for fun, just for shits and giggles, we were looking at real estate on the West Coast because my wife grew up on the ocean, and I spent about 15 years on the ocean, and for whatever reason it's calling us back. And I guess these days I'm feeling incredibly grateful for just, I can attribute this very specifically to defining our big future years ago. And I talk about it often with my wife. We have the old the vision board, and we're just very specific about the type of life that we want to create, which, of course, in an ideal world is a reflection of your values. And for us, it's all about our kids, and I think happiness, especially if you look at the times where you're happy, it's where your actions and your activities perfectly map and overlap with your values. And so if I were to bust my hump, and if you were to bust your hump, and be successful, in air quotes, where you're profitable, but you don't have any time and you don't have any freedom, then is that really success? And so the move that we're making to the island is 100% value driven, and creating a business that could sustain itself is 100% value driven, because our kids are 3 under 4. We got 3 young kids, and I don't know about you guys, but I feel like somebody's just hitting the fast forward button, and it's going to be over in the blink of an eye. And so we're cultivating our dream life. What does the perfect day look like? That's the question we asked ourselves, the perfect average day, and what does the perfect average week look like? And it just so happened that it was on an ocean. And so we found a house on an ocean. And so how is this all possible? And I would really, for me, it kind of boils down to two ideas that I'm relentlessly kind of driving into our business, into our leaders' heads, is the two things, which are respect for people and continuous improvement. And these are kind of the bedrocks around, they come from lean manufacturing, but all of the successful companies in Silicon Valley and so on, you've probably read the book Lean Startups. They can attribute a lot of their success and high growth to lean manufacturing principles. And so respect for people and continuous improvement. One of the fathers of lean manufacturing, which, again, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, this will apply to you, Toyota, and one of their whole mottos is that they build people before they build cars. And you should be thinking this way in terms of your business, because if you're not there, you need to have good people in place to make sure that things are running, even better than they would be with you there. And so the whole respect for people is an interesting thing, because most people interpret it as, you're just being friendly and letting people off the hook, and it's actually opposite. I can remember back in my early 20s where I was working with a biotech company and put in charge of and they were doing about 10 mil a year. I was put in charge of their entire sales and marketing globally, and I was in my early 20s. And so the fact that the CEO at the time had invested his trust in me, and he lived in a different city, but he said, I trust you're going to make the right decisions. And I would set up all the strategy and figure out where we need to focus our energy and put together all of the numbers and data and present it to the team. But in my early 20s, the fact that somebody would show me that respect and trust was incredible. And as a result, I grew. And so with your team, you show your team respect by giving them ownership, right? So, and responsibility. So they have the ability to respond in their area that they control. And so it's kind of counter to when you're first starting out where you're the center of the universe, but you have to make your people the center of their universe and show them respect by holding them accountable. And so kind of a subset of the respect for people is systems over people. What does it look like? Well, it looks like giving them responsibility, but it also looks like, when things go wrong, and they will, you don't want to be the kind of leader that's just going to be, people are going to be hiding things from you because they're afraid of you. Your first response should be to attack the system. What did I do or not do? How is this system broken at the root level? Like, dig beneath the surface, go to the root level, and how can we fix that? And if you do things in this way, you're showing respect, because your first instinct isn't to blame people and throw somebody under the bus. And that's the first, especially you as the leader, you're going to be creating that kind of culture if that's your response and how you react. So really, to set the standard around blaming the systems and not the people. And that's how you show respect for people, by giving them ownership, giving them accountability, giving them responsibility so that they actually can respond in your absence. And the second piece, continuous improvement, is, if you look at the opposite, which is companies that are just every day is the same, and it feels like Office Space. It's like a carbon copy where it's just the same old, jaded culture. Everybody's just, this is just the way it is. It always will be this way. So you want to stamp that out by creating a culture of continuous improvement. And these are all interwoven. So you're showing respect for people by enabling your people to make improvements in your business in your absence. And so we've got an explicit program where we have targets, 250 implemented small improvements every year, and we track them, and we reward people for implemented improvements. And so, with us moving to the island, the leadership team around me, and if you ever want a business that's island proof, you want to have people that actually have an ownership attitude when they're coming into the office each day. And then secondly, I know that my tomorrows, my next week, we're going to be a little bit better than we were this week, because I can measure it through the improvements that have been implemented. So having a team that actually cares, they're responsible, and they're making improvements whether or not you're there every single day, day in and day out. That to me is the dreamland. And it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's not going to happen overnight. But I think these two mantras, they've definitely served me well, and I think they'll serve you well when you're looking to build a culture that could, have a very strong immune system so that you can weather the storms that are inevitably going to come your way. And then one day, if you have the option to sell your business, or that's not necessarily the goal, you're just going to have a team where it's hard to measure the value of a strong team that cares and shows up, and they're there for the right reasons. And so, respect for people and continuous improvement. Focus on those two things, and you'll be well on your way to creating an island-proof business. I hope that was helpful. I'm going to head into the office here shortly. Hey, Tim Uchuk here, and real quick, if you enjoyed this podcast episode, if you could take a couple quick seconds to give it a rating, it would be very much appreciated. And secondly, if you're looking for more tools and strategies on how you can crush it in life and business, just head on over to bookwithtim.com, where I've put together a free case study which shows you how to unlock unprecedented freedom today by using the 2 power levers. Just head on over to bookwithtim.com. Until next time, wishing you success and freedom in your business. Cheers.